So I've entitled this video, Fanboys Cripple Innovation. No doubt by this point there's probably already some fanboys who are hitting that thumbs down button, but you know what? It doesn't matter. This is something that needs to be addressed. Because fanboys are a business's dream, but they're a market's worst nightmare. Now, you get fanboys in all sorts of markets, you know, not just cameras, but phones, games consoles, computing equipment, cars, pretty much most areas of the market you can get fanboys, but they're most predominantly seen in the phone, the camera market. Now, since this is a photography channel, let's stick to the camera market. So, by fanboy, I mean people who will just blindly defend products purely based off the manufacturer that's made them, regardless of how well the product compares to other similar products on the market. They just see the badge and they just go, that's got to be the best because it's made by a particular company. And that's not healthy for an innovating market, because competition drives innovation. So the market needs to be competitive in order to keep innovating. If everybody was on the same camera system, if everybody used the same manufacturer, there would be no need to really innovate because it would be under complete control of one camera manufacturer. Now, say for example, I presented you with 5 different cameras, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of the cameras completely unbranded, all of them pretty much identical in terms of specifications and in terms of price. And I said to you, okay, pick a camera. If I offered that same option to 1,000 people, you would probably find a fairly even split amongst everybody picking a camera, you know, 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, and 20%, give or take. If I turned around and went, okay, here's 5 cameras, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are absolutely identical to each other, but camera number 5 is better in pretty much every way, you know, better image quality, faster shooting speed, more features, but it's exactly the same price as the other 4, and I offered that same scenario to 1,000 people, pretty much all 1,000 people would go, well, I'll take camera number 5 because it's better value for money. So at that point, manufacturers 1 to 4 have 2 options. They either don't sell any cameras or they improve their cameras to rival what camera number 5 is doing. But then if all 4 manufacturers exceed camera number 5 and make their cameras even better, but all still exactly the same, so then if you repose that same question to the 1,000 people, you would probably find a fairly even split between 1, 2, 3, and 4 of about 25% each, and camera number 5 wouldn't get anything. And that, in an ideal world, is kind of how the technology market should go. Obviously, this is a very oversimplified way of looking at it, and I am not suggesting for 1 minute that the moment a better camera comes out, everybody should immediately go and buy it. That's just not practical. Obviously, I always maintain that you should get the product that does what you need it to do, and there's no point going spending money on features that you're not going to need. So if a camera does everything that you need it to do well enough and you're already in that system, then it makes sense that you buy that camera. But if the camera manufacturer you're currently with isn't offering the features that you are looking for, but a different manufacturer is, then you should consider moving to them, because that speaks a lot of volumes, and that's going to drive the innovation even further. Where the problem comes in is fanboys, because fanboys are the kind of people who will just blindly defend a product for no apparent reason other than it's been made by their favorite manufacturer. And where this becomes harming is because at the end of the day, regardless of whether you like to believe this or not, companies really don't give that much of a damn about their customers. All they actually care about is money. Anytime a company releases a new product, usually within their marketing babble or from interviews with representatives, they'll say things like, oh, well, we listened to the feedback of our customers and this is what our customers are asking for, so this is what we've gone and done. But they're not doing that as a favor to you. They're not thinking, oh, well, you know, this is what people want, so let's be nice to the customers and let's give them this. Businesses don't work like that, okay? Businesses will sit down and go, people are asking for this, so there's a lot of demand for this. We can do it at a very cost-effective price. So if we do it, we're surefire to sell a lot more units. That's going to make us more money. Let's do it. I mean, a lot of people have been asking for a lot of things for years that still haven't come about because they're just not a cost-effective venture for a business to do. Anytime the company releases a new product, they go through the same sort of cycle, which is supply and demand. So a new product gets released, there's demand for it, but there's very limited supply. Over time, as more and more supply is put into the market, the demand for that product decreases and decreases. Eventually, there will come a time where demand is so low, the company will decide to release an updated version or a different variation of that product, and the whole cycle starts again. Because it's a new product, it re-brings in the demand, there's very limited supply for it, so on and so forth. Now, whenever a manufacturer is designing a product, there's always a few key aspects that they have to consider. Namely, how many feature sets, how good are they going to make this product, and how much can they sell it for? Because if they make the product better or they add more features to it, then that is inherently going to need more research and development time, and that's going to cost more money. The materials for manufacturing might be different, the manufacturing processes might be different or might take longer. All of this costs money. So inherently, the more features that a manufacturer puts into a new product, the more expensive that the product is for them to make. Now, generally, these costs are passed on to the consumer, which means a higher retail price. Adding more features into a product is going to make that product more desirable, so it's going to increase demand for the product. But then if the price then increases as well, demand comes back down because a more expensive product is less desirable. So if a company increases the retail price in line with how much more features they're putting into it, then the increase in demand from the more features gets offset by the higher price, demand stays about the same. If a manufacturer adds more features into a product but doesn't increase the price, that's going to increase demand, but their profit margins are going to take a hit. So they're not going to make as much money per unit, but they might sell more units. If they don't put as many features into the product, that's obviously going to reduce demand, but it means that their profit margins are higher, so they're going to make more money per unit. So a company will always try and find a balance between how many units can they sell versus how much profit can they make per unit. Now, more established manufacturers with bigger market shares generally have an easier time of this because they know they've got a much bigger client base to deal with in the first place. They know that they're pretty much guaranteed to sell X number of units without even trying. So they can be a little bit more held back, if you like, with what features they're putting in. Or they can charge more for the same features and know that their brand name is going to carry them that little bit further. Whereas smaller companies fighting over market share have to put that extra effort in. They have to try and stand out from the crowd. So they're going to have to either put more features into the products or do it at a much cheaper price in order to get noticed. So where fanboys present the problem is if we go back to the 5 unbranded camera example before, okay? 5 unbranded cameras, but all from different manufacturers, all based off just specifications to price, you're going to pick the best value for money camera. So that's going to make the other 4 camera manufacturers take note. Then if the other 4 camera manufacturers all make a better camera, then suddenly camera manufacturer number 5 needs to then go one better. But then if everybody suddenly just went, oh, actually no, we're going to stick with brand number 5. Even though their products aren't as good as 1 to 4, we're going to stick with number 5 anyway. Suddenly that's going to kind of give no incentive for brand number 5 to then carry on innovating. You need the competition to drive the innovation. As consumers, we want innovation. Now, I know that we can say the modern cameras today are absolutely phenomenal. You know, compared to 5, 10, 15 years ago, they're absolutely insane and they've come on leaps and bounds. Absolutely. But there's no harm in having innovation because 5, 10, 15 years down the line, cameras are going to be so much more. And eventually, at some point, you're going to have to change your camera, right? Whether you like it or not. Either your camera's going to give up the ghost and just stop working, or it's not going to be doing what you want it to do. And at that point, you're going to need to buy a new camera. But if we've stopped innovating, then the cameras aren't really going to progress that much more than what you've already got. So I'm not suggesting for 1 second that, you know, everybody should just sell their camera equipment now, go and buy the best camera that's currently on the market until the next best one comes along and we should all go and buy that. Not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to buying camera equipment or anything like that, get the tool that does the job. And if the tool that does the job best for you is a different manufacturer, then move to a different manufacturer. So that's it, rant over. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the box down below. Thank you so much for stopping by, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.